everyone. Welcome to the Supper Suite at South by Southwest, brought to you by El Tesoro Tequila and Blue Moon. We are so excited to be here today because we're talking about the movie Yes, God, Yes. I want to welcome you all. Thank you so much for your time today. Just to jump right in, I was curious because making a first feature is not easy. So what was the process in terms of going from the short to the feature? Did you just wake up one morning and say, I need to make this story a full feature?
Well, it's interesting because the feature was written right after we finished writing Obvious Child. I wanted to tell this story. So the feature existed before the short film. So the short was adapted from the feature script. And we did it as a proof of concept to sort of prove that I could direct. And then we got the money to make the feature.
Oh, man. So the money part is what intimidates me the most. So given the success of the short, was that fairly easy for you this time, or was there any kind of convincing on your end that still needed to happen?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of convincing involved. I feel like we got off pretty easy. I think you read about films like The Favorite, which took like so long. I don't even know how long it is, but a very long time from script to actual film. So for us, it was about a year before we had financing and could shoot the film. So we were very lucky, I think.
That is great. I'm glad it worked out because the short is something else, and I could see like exact copies from the short in the feature, and I think that's a really nice touch. I'm curious, Natalia, for you, going from the short to the feature, like, had you actually read the feature script before you did the short?
No, I hadn't. I just got this short in my inbox and read it, and I was like, this is hilarious. And I'm a big fan of Obvious Child, and and Karen has such a funny, great voice in her writing. So it was just kind of like, I think you did say that there's always kind of this idea of having a longer feature about it. But yeah, I didn't read it until after the short came out, and it's great. I think what's lovely is it really kind of, it has all those fun, and funny beats of the short, but you get, it just really fills it out and touching on some deeper, I think, topics within that world. But yeah, she, like I said, she's a great writer, so it was happy to read it.
Stepping back into the project, was it almost like, you remembered exactly what it was like on the short, or was it a different feel?
Yeah, there's some similar, ideas going on because it was, taken from the feature length. But, adding all of these guys into the mix made a huge difference and brought a really fun and funny vibe to the set. And we shot the short in New York, but for the feature, we were in a completely different place. And kind of the place, the Kirkos where we were filming itself felt very secluded. So it was kind of, I don't know, it was great. I can't imagine a better location for it.
Was it an actual camp? I mean, did it have that kind of, on location, you're out there camping kind of vibe?
Yeah, yes it did. Absolutely.
Did you guys get to make s'mores? Because that's the key.
No,
I didn't.
I held a s'more. Yeah. I held a s'more. It looked very delicious, but I did not make it.
It stressed me out that you held the s'more in the movie and didn't eat it. Like, who doesn't take a bite of the s'more?
We all work in film. None of us had had a s'more in like 15 years.
I'm curious now how the whole ensemble came together. I'm obsessed with the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, so this might be me reading into this too much, but it's like I see Stranger Things connections in the cast here. I know Sierra Burgess, and then I could loop it back to Stranger Things. Did you guys all kind of know each other? Was there any kind of, tipping off the casting director in terms of bringing you all together?
No, we found everybody sort of separately. I didn't know that anybody knew each other. So, and Fran and Natalia, the Stranger Things happened after Yes, God, Yes.
I got cast in Stranger Things after finishing this movie, and so my first day on set was my first time meeting Natalia, so it was just kind of
I had been doing theater in London at the time, and I got a call from my agent to tape for Yes God Yes, but the deadline was in like 3 hours because of the time difference. So I watched the short film, read the script, and then didn't have enough time to get off book, so I had a friend of mine write out the lines off camera. I sent in the tape, and I didn't hear anything for 6 months. And then January 2nd, not even they liked it, you're in, nothing. And then 6 months later, the day, January 2nd, I fly back from New York from Christmas break, and I get a call from my agent saying, you're going to FaceTime with the director of Yes God Yes tomorrow morning. And my first thought is, what the hell is Yes God Yes? And then I was like, oh, I remember. And then the next morning, I FaceTimed with Karen, and we kind of just had a really easy rapport and talked about the scenes that I had taped for. She gave me direction for each scene, and I retaped, and 2 weeks later, I was on set.
Are you okay over there?
Yeah, sorry. I had no idea that you read 6 months. That's insane.
Yeah, it was
I
pretty.
feel like we were in production for 6 months.
And I love that you were given a deadline of 3 hours.
Yeah.
And 6 months later.
This is going to sound like a really weird question, but I have to ask it. Were you just having like hair taped to your arms?
So
glad
yes,
you
that
asked
is
this
the arm hair is not mine, but I've been told by people close to me, they were like, was that yours? So I think it works and it's real. But it would take about an hour in the morning to put on, and the first day we did, it was like a sleeve of real hair. But Karen said it didn't look so good on camera.
It was like glued on.
Right.
It looked terrible.
So then going forward, it was like a werewolf. And then going forward, we did individual hair each day, and then I couldn't cross my arms together because if I did, my arms would stick together. And then it took about a half hour every night to take off.
Oh, it's the little things that we don't think about.
It looks really good though.
Oh,
The
yeah.
makeup team did a great job, I think.
I definitely would agree. It's like noticeable as it should be, but it doesn't look unrealistic, which is quite the achievement. I was going down, the Google hole to basically prepare for this interview, and I came across all your basketball stuff, and I'm a little obsessed with basketball, so I have to bring it up. Are you still playing?
No, I was a basketball player my entire life, and I was preparing to play kind of big-time Division I college basketball. And then my senior year of high school, I started acting for the first time and made a decision to stop playing basketball and go to theater school in London.
Wow. What kind of nudged you in that direction? Was there any specific inspiration, a movie you saw, a performance you saw?
Well, I've always loved movies, but yeah, it was just I just remember feeling like visiting all these colleges I'd worked my whole life for, a feeling of kind of completion, and I'd found a new love, and I was like, I want to do this now.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Now you just need a movie to cast a basketball star, and you've got it made. The best of both worlds.
We'll see.
I was a little curious about the idea to set this movie in the 90s, because I definitely grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s. I grew up in this time period, and I was telling everybody I vividly remember my first IM on AOL. Mm-hmm. So did you consider, what someone like me would think about this, but also kids that are growing up today who basically had iPhones and internet access since birth?
Yeah, it's interesting. I can't speak for the younger generation. These guys can totally speak for that part of the question. But I said it, it's set in the early 2000s, actually, not the 90s. Big difference, right? The idea was, twofold, because I was that age as well when I was growing up, and that was a big part of, discovering sexuality and sex stuff, because the internet was so new at that time that it isn't like a vast world that it is now. It was just sort of slowly becoming something where you could get information, but it wasn't as big as it is right now. So I think it's a very interesting point for the internet where like Alice, the main character, can't go online and be like, what is tossing someone salad, I mean, she could, but I don't know if she'd get the right it's just like you're still living within your own world much more in the early aughts, I think, than you would be today because of the internet. So I wanted to have the character have a more like sort of secluded society in which she lived, where she couldn't get all the answers at her fingertips, essentially.
I love how casually you say that too, just like tossing someone salad. Like it's like no big deal at all. But in this movie, is it difficult to kind of deal with that kind of material and not, I don't know, like laugh to yourself or feel awkward and just kind of strip that all away and dive into it?
Well, we had a lot of trouble filming one scene where I was talking about water shooting up one's rear, and as one does at lunch.
enema.
Yeah, an enema. But yeah, that took a very long time for Natalia and I to do. At one point, I just stopped looking at her. I just completely changed my eyeline away from her because I couldn't. And we could hear Karen being like, "Hey guys, yeah, it's really funny. It's all really funny, but like we have to get it," because we just couldn't handle it. Same with Tim. Tim, you doing a scene with you was incredibly hard.
I try to make it difficult. I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm unprofessional.
Others would say. Others would say.
Others would say. But you know what? Whose definition are we going by? No, I guess really what I just want to say is I want to thank our sponsors, El Torso,
El
Supper,
Tesoro.
the Supper Club,
Yeah.
the Austin Supper Club, and of course Cadillac. Thank you for having us.
And Blue Moon, of course, too.
Blue Moon, of course. Halliburton, thank you for their work.
How dare you forget Blue Moon, Tim?
Going back to the early 2000s references, I'm curious just because so many things caught my eye, caught my ear. Is there any particular thing that you guys thought was, I don't know, like your favorite song to hear, your favorite movie to bring up, anything along those lines?
Mandy Moore.
Yes.
Mandy Moore was huge.
Mandy Moore was such a huge get. I'm so happy about that song.
That was a big win. Also AIM. I feel like we all kind of
Yeah.
were still
Right.
using. We're on like the fade out of AIM
Yeah.
into texting.
Like AIM Messenger, we kind of caught the tail end of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But it was like fancier looking.
Not that fancy, though.
Mine looked very fancy.
Okay.
How is it fancy?
On the
Like
computer.
with all the colors, did you change the colors of yours?
Yeah, I had it. Mine was like in the X-ray, so it looked very high tech. I don't know. my
Remember
brother-
that look?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but it's definitely weird to tell people that she gets in an AIM chat and have some younger people look at me and be like, "What is that?"
Do you remember your first AOL screen name?
Oh yeah, I have two really bad ones. Mine's well, the first one's like normal. It's like crazy bananas, and then my second one, my mother helped me come up with, and it's Fierce Euro Chick 97. Yeah, I sound like a prostitute, honestly, but yeah, it was amazing. Yeah,
What was mine?
what's yours? Please be more embarrassing.
Mine was I think it was Fran the Panda. 48 something, 3 numbers, and then I changed it to Fran L. Real, but I spelt my last name wrong, so it was kind of embarrassing.
Was it like real, like REAL, like?
No, that's how it's actually spelled.
Oh,
It was REEL, like a real. Like an actress real.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Nice pun, though.
I was the city baller. That's THE, not DA. I knew how to spell. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
What was yours?
I was on the tail end of this, so I think I was a junior or senior in high school and all this. But I think I was Man Beast 37.
Oh, boy.
So there were 36 other man beasts?
There were 36 other Man Beasts that I had to get through. I had a burner account though that was El Torso, and the Austin Supper Club.
Who knows? Maybe you paved the way to us being here.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'll take it.
A burner.
Do you remember yours?
Oh, mine's the one in the film, Loves to Ski.
Oh, okay. That's a nice
15,
touch.
yeah.
I don't know why I'm telling this story right now, but when my little sister made her, she's going to kill me for saying this. We used to call her Pigpen as a kid, so she wanted to make the AOL screen name Pigpen is for me 6 because it's her lucky number. Did anybody figure it out? Pigpen is for me. No?
The reference? Or
Yeah, like if you put all those words together,
I
what did
assume
I?
it's something dirty.
Oh,
It's
the
very
big
dirty.
pens.
Pen 15 kind of thing.
There you go. There you go.
Wolfgang.
So she could not have that, but we tried and couldn't figure out why it wouldn't work for a very long time.
Can I ask
Yeah.
you a question? I just saw last night that Father Murphy's screen name was it Salt to Paul 777. What is the biblical reference that's there?
Saul was a Jew and he became a Christian and he changed his name to Paul. So I just thought that was the ultimate, like, I don't know. It's like a subtle, I guess it's like a subtle diss to Judaism on Father Murphy's part.
Is the 777?
Well, 7's the holiest
Right.
number in the Bible, so yeah. The tripleness, I don't know
Okay.
why. I didn't think too hard about it. But I thought, yeah, Saul DePaul is like a big, we got another one.
So I feel like a lot of times when we talk about the internet and constantly being online, it's usually with a little bit of a negative spin on it today. So I was just wondering, what's one thing that you do on the internet or on your phone that actually kind of brings joy to your life on a regular basis?
Oh my God. Posting pictures of my dog.
That is the best answer. I don't know how anyone's going to top that.
I like educating people on the dangers of vaccines.
I'm trying to think now. All I'm thinking about is WebMD. There's this really cool Twitter page called Sidewing. There's a really cool Twitter page called We Rate Dogs.
Oh, I love that. I know about that.
Which is, I showed you We Rate Dogs. I showed everyone in this cast We Rate Dogs.
That's why I follow them.
Yes.
Yeah. Dogs is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
They're
They're all very good boys. 12 out of 10 across the board.
You know what? I got to say, probably is the only one up here who's never had social media in my entire life. And I just recently made an Instagram that seeing photos of like old friends who I like went to middle school with, because like I grew up in New York and I live in Los Angeles now, and kind of seeing even people I haven't spoken to in a long time, kind of seeing how their lives are doing or what college they're doing at college. That's cool to see.
That was a really touching answer that I wasn't expecting after all of that. That was nice. All right, to wrap up here, we're going to play a game. I'll just give you guys the option. Would you rather do random questions or would you rather?
Oh my God, would you rather?
Okay, would you rather it is.
This is dictatorship.
You made the decision for the group.
Yeah.
Is that
All right,
the
so
would you rather question
I
that
know.
I should
Is
work.
that-
I should just naturally
Yeah.
work that. Actually, I planned that. So they're all movie making film festival questions. So feel free to just shout out an answer, whoever wants to. Would you rather see your movie before its festival premiere or with the premiere audience?
With the premiere audience.
Yeah, I think for this one specifically, Tim and I saw the movie last week together. Just the two of us. Seeing it with an audience, though, was just a completely different experience, because you just see just the energy in different moments that you thought, you reacted, you thought was funny is so wildly different for somebody else. So it was pretty infectious last night in the theater.
It was definitely a loud response last night.
Oh, yeah.
I'd rather watch it before. I mean, yesterday was my second time watching it, and I actually got to watch the movie. 'Cause the first time I was watching it, I was just looking at my face, and I was just like, your face is just, what is it doing? And I saw all these problems that were non-existent. I was like, my face is like open and melting and shifting, and
I feel the same way, yeah.
right?
About you, I mean, about your face.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, yeah. Me too, yeah, okay. God, thank God, someone.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of tricky because I do. There, like you were saying, there's definitely such a value in seeing it with other people, especially because of that reason. Because it's very hard to watch yourself on screen and like have any sort of distance or any kind of perspective, really. So I do think there's a benefit of seeing an audience, but I also think I like to see it before, so the anxiety is a little more chill.
My face is melting every single time I rewatch one of these interviews, by the way. I think the same exact thing.
That was an odd description, but I think,
I'm going to keep
It's a
applying
personal
that
thing.
to what goes through my head now. All right, here's another one. Would you rather meet a new collaborator at a film festival or reconnect with someone you worked with long ago?
New.
Did you just say no?
Oh, new.
Well-
Oh, new.
I feel like I keep up with old friends and collaborators already, so I'd use it as an opportunity to meet new people. I didn't mean to diss anyone.
Well, I think with this movie, we filmed it, about 9-10 months ago, and I haven't really seen everybody since then. And, like the rest of the cast came, and Katie and Colleen and Karen. So it's been really fun to reconnect this weekend.
Would you rather do festival interviews with a co-star who talks too much or not enough?
Too much.
Too much.
much.
Yeah, too
Too
much.
much.
Yeah.
Save me from myself.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going.
If it's Tim talking too much, then Tim.
Well, I mean, is the co-star talking about the MMR vaccine? That's what, like,
It's either that or El Tesoro, and if it's not one or the other,
Yeah, if it's
then-
not one or the other,
yeah,
then no.
forget it.
Is there an option where I can just do all my press with Tim, even if he's not in the movie? Just have him there.
I think that's a reasonable pick right there. All right. Would you rather mess up every single take yourself or have somebody else mess up your best take?
Ooh, I know I'd rather mess it up myself.
Yeah,
I think. Then you can only blame yourself, I think. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would rather
It's
mess
really
it up myself.
frustrating if somebody else.
If a phone goes
messes
off and
up.
you're crying.
I'd be like, that was the one.
Does that happen on set?
one.
I had an instance where I was
An
crying.
audition, but right.
No, I was
Oh.
on set. I was crying and I was like banging a wall, and there's this ringtone went off.
Oh my
Of like, I'm not even sure what the tune was, but it was not a song that was in English. And everyone just started laughing, and I was still crying.
That's
It was like a
terrible.
minor panic attack.
I will say,
we
as
got
deeply unprofessional as I have been in this interview, I would hate myself if I blew somebody else's take. Like if I blew my own takes, like, all right, just get it together. But if I blew somebody else's, I would feel terrible.
I'm
Yeah.
in that boat. I have a very guilty conscience, so I'd rather just like play it cool if somebody else messed up something I did.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather have to fake sneeze or fake vomit in a scene?
Fake vomit for
Fake
sure.
vomit. It's cooler.
Fake sneezing is hard.
It's cooler.
Wait, the sneeze that produces something, or
You-
like just like a
We don't have to get messy with it, but just even like
you have to have something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Spell some kind of.
Oh.
no, not necessarily. But
Okay.
like even just doing like a dry convincing
I'm
fake
a
sneeze sounds challenging.
I'm a
to me.
method actor, so I do both for real.
Every time. You just conjure up
On
a
cue,
sneeze.
on cue.
I'd say
Yeah,
vomit.
it's more fun too.
Yeah, it just seems cooler. It
It's
seems like
so
a better
fun.
option.
When you see it in like all these like kind of gross out comedies and it coming out, I imagine like the tube or whatever they're using. I don't know. It seems like a fun experience. Maybe that's not the right way.
The props people are not worried about what it tastes like. They're worried about texture and color, and then just put it in your mouth and spit it into the sink. But I would still probably choose vomit only because I don't think I could sneeze convincingly.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look like you've been stressing over this question for a little.
Well, I'm questioning my choices. Everyone else said vomit, and I'm like, I thought the obvious answer was sneeze.
To wrap this up now, I was just wondering, and you can all chime in a little bit here, what you're kind of hoping people take away from this movie, because I found that whether you're religious or not, and you can directly relate to specifically what these characters are going through, there's so many just broader things that somebody can connect to and learn from, where if this movie was in my life back when I was using AOL for the very first time, probably would have had a positive effect on me.
I hope there's just a more open dialogue about young women's sexuality and experiencing pleasure. There's a really great book by Peggy Ornstein that came out a few years ago where she just interviews young women at college and in high school about sex, and it's just such an expectation placed on like doing things for men and pleasing them, whereas the female pleasure is always secondary. And I understand why it's that way, because when we talk about procreation, men need to come to make a baby. So it's often just skimmed over the idea that women can even experience pleasure or how they experience pleasure, both for men and women. So just to open the dialogue more and to include in all sex ed classes a bit about female sexual pleasure would be great.
The microwave and oven thing made a little too much sense.
I think also it really comes together really wonderfully at the end with Natalia's big speech to everyone of kind of saying that everybody's dealing with their own things, and some people are hiding things and just trying to figure it out. And you're not gonna go to hell if you do one thing and you're a bad person, you're a good person. It's not so black and white. Everybody's just kind of trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and just kind of your body is your friend. It's not your enemy. It's not there to make you feel terrible. It's there to make you feel empowered, and we should be more aware of that, especially as women, especially now.
Which is why we shouldn't vaccinate ourselves.
Your body's a temple, guys. Don't let a doctor talk you into anything you don't want to do.
That's the perfect transition to thank the cast and the filmmaker behind Yes, God, Yes. Check it out. Keep an eye out for it. Also, another thank you for El Tesoro, Blue Moon, and also the Supper Suite. Thank you for giving us a home and for being able to talk about movies like Yes, God, Yes. Thank you guys again. We will see you soon with more South by Southwest coverage.